What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Domuto. We're back with another video tape. We're watching Pickled Dill podcast, and today we're watching What If Goku Was Guardian of Earth Part 5. So the last part, Trunks pulled up on Raditz and the gang, and we show you from the future. So we gonna see what happens, and we'll see what happened with Goku and Gohan. You know what I'm saying? So let's go.
Find ourselves in the darkest timeline. With no hero from the future to save the day, Tien Shinhan gave his life by using a combined Neo Tri-Beam and Kaioken times 50 to kill Frieza and King Cold. As the Triclops joins the mounting list of casualties in a world without Dragon Balls, his sacrifice buys the Earth a new era of peace. 3 years pass in the blink of an eye, and in this time a new life begins. Trunks, born the son of the newlywed Raditz and Bulma, the black-haired babe begins life with every advantage imaginable, and his adoring parents cannot wait to see the life he will have. As he grows, Trunks proves himself to be inquisitive and creative like both his parents, and by 2.5, he is already helping his mother tinker and play sparring with his father. He is also doted on by family friends like his Uncle Krillin and Uncle Nappa, and though he doesn't remember her, he also knows that he has an Auntie Chi-Chi, who is apparently watching over him from above. Unfortunately, this joy cannot last forever, and one day while father and son are flying over West City, a terrible chill runs down their spines, like a bright flame they had always taken for granted has been snuffed out, leaving a cold void in its place.
Damn.
Raditz knows this feeling, having caused it enough times. It is the feeling of mass death. Forcing himself to exude an air of calm for his young son, Raditz tells Trunks to head home and stay close to his mother. But of course, like any toddler would, Trunks asks why, saying that he wants to stay with his dad. Patience straining under this grilling, coupled with the fear pooling in his stomach and the ringing in his head as Chi-Chi telepathically transmits the coordinates of the disaster, Raditz states a little more harshly than he meant to that he just needs a minute to be alone. Tears well in the child's eyes at this rebuke, and he flies away at top speed, leaving Raditz with another unpleasant feeling to add to the rest: guilt. When he is sure the boy is gone, Raditz takes off towards the location Chi-Chi mentioned, all the while scanning for any sign of whatever killed all those people. However, despite his best efforts, he can't sense any energy signatures coming from the site of the disaster. This terrifies the Saiyan, making him feel helpless like he did during those early days training with Kakarot after his scouter had been destroyed.
Damn.
What he wouldn't give to have Kakarot around now. By now he has gotten within visual range of the Calamity, an island 9 miles off the coast of South City, and he still cannot sense whatever did this. It worries him to go in blind like this, though at least he can tell that this is not an issue with his ability to sense Ki, as moments later he feels Krillin and Nappa approaching, followed a few moments later by Chaozu and Chi-Chi. Raditz greets them all warmly, with Nappa joking that next time they should meet up for a barbecue rather than a world-ending calamity. Krillin quips that he'll bring the largest T-bone steaks they've ever seen, and then a heartbeat later, he dies. A bolt of Ki tears through the monk's body, and as it explodes, the remaining Z-fighters scatter. Urgently, Raditz calls out to ask if anyone else sensed that, but he receives a resounding no from the others, confirming his fear that whatever did this can't be sensed. Nappa growls that in that case, why don't they just blow up the city and figure out the rest when the bad guy is dead? Chi-Chi protests that there might still be survivors down there, but a snarky male voice says there's not. He made sure of it. Heads all turning, they see a boy with black chin-length hair and a bandana around his neck flying just below them, and when he sees that he has their attention, he smirks and fires off a tiny ki blast. Once again, everyone scatters, but this time Chaozu is too close to the blast, and so the others are forced to watch his charred corpse plummet into the ocean. An equally sarcastic female voice above them then chimes in that it's not like Nappa's plan would have worked anyway. At most, all it would have done is singed their hair. She then floats into view, showing herself to be the twin to the boy, though with blonde hair instead. Still sounding bored, the girl asks which of them they should kill next, but her brother's answer is cut off by Chi-Chi ripping into her with a bevy of barbs that range from her slovenly tattered vest to her reprehensible actions in attacking a defenseless city. This annoys the android, who says never mind, she's made her choice, causing the boy to grin that in that case he'll take the big bald guy. The twins then rush at their targets, with 18 decapitating Chi-Chi with a single kick to the neck, while 17 drives a punch into Nappa's stomach, which he then powers up with Ki to blow a hole in the bald brute's torso. Neither even have a chance to react, and as Raditz watches their bodies fall like Chaozu's, he screams.
The androids from the future sound a lot stronger.
He will never see Bulma or Trunks
Then the
again.
ones
Oh
in
god, what if they
the
target
main
West City
timeline.
next? He has to get out of here. He has to get to his family and go somewhere safe. Anywhere. He just needs to see them again. The cyborg duo cackle at this display of fear, and so with a sadistic grin, 17 pats Raditz on the shoulder, saying that unfortunately, his number's up. The twins then go back to back, each sticking out a hand through which they begin to charge a tandem ki blast. However, Raditz refuses to die here, and so through force of will alone, he makes his body move. But instead of firing off a surprise attack, or trying to counter the android's blast, he turns and flees. The teen's mocking laughter ringing in his ears, Raditz flies at top speed towards Capsule Corp, not even daring to look back. When he senses Bulma and Trunks, he doesn't bother going through the door, instead simply crashing directly through the roof to land in front of them. Furiously, Bulma demands to know what the hell is wrong with her husband. First he upsets Trunks, then he nearly collapses the ceiling on them, but is stopped when Raditz croaks out 2 terrified words. Everyone's dead. Seeing the terror in his eyes now, Bulma picks up their son and runs over to him, asking him to explain. But Raditz says he will explain later. Right now they have to get to the lookout. Bulma looks baffled, a rare sight indeed for the smartest person on Earth, and so Raditz, heart pounding, takes the briefest pause to say that though the others are gone, there is a room on the lookout that will grant him the strength he needs to protect her and Trunks. Bulma demands to know exactly what he is defending them from, but Raditz himself doesn't even know, and so he simply pulls her and Trunks close, then takes off at top speed. Even with the encumbrance of Bulma and Trunks, Raditz is able to fly up to the lookout in no time at all, and as he expected, he sees Mr. Popo waiting with a deeply troubled look on his face. Crouching to look his family in the eye, the tall Saiyan tells them to stay with Popo while he goes to train. Then, without waiting for their response, he begins to sprint towards the time chamber door. He still has a year and a half left in the chamber before the door vanishes, so if he makes use of that, he should be able to power up enough to defeat those monsters, whatever they are. Then, just as he is about to lay a hand on the time chamber door, he hears the sound of a ki blast, followed by a shriek from Bulma. Whipping around, Raditz just barely avoids a blast that would have killed him like the others.
Damn.
But when it hits the door, it detonates, bowling him over onto his stomach. Looking up, he sees those 2 smirking teens floating just above the edge of the lookout. The girl sneers that if he's gonna flee with his tail between his legs, next time he should do something to suppress his power, since he basically just lit up their path like a flare, leading them right to this place. The boy then adds it's too bad he's an android like them, since then that wouldn't be an issue, and he wouldn't be about to watch his wife and kid get smoked. He then begins to charge up a blast in his hand aimed at Bulma and Trunks, so Raditz does the only thing he can think of, and fires a double sundae at the bot. This hits and blows 17's attack away, causing the twins' attention to switch over to Raditz. 18 then fires a small blast that knocks Raditz over again, this time onto his back. As the Saiyan glances up to see the only entrance to the time chamber destroyed, 18 smirks that based on that look on his face, wherever that door led was important. Oh, she hopes it was important. 17 reminds her that he was the one who actually destroyed it, so he should get the credit. But 18 chides him to stop acting like a little kid. What matters is they broke the long-haired guy's spirit, just like they're about to break his body now. However, if anything, Raditz's spirit is lifted as he sees Bulma capitalize on the duo's bickering to pop a capsule containing a small plane and rush onto it with Trunks. At least they can get away. That is until 17, without even looking back, fires a blast that makes the back of the plane explode and tumble off the edge of the lookout. He then snipes that he supposes he shouldn't expect any credit for that awesome kill either, when he didn't even look back at the explosion. Raditz doesn't hear what 18 says in response, or anything else for that matter. All he can hear is a ringing in his ears. Bulma, Trunks, they're dead. And they're dead because he brought them here. Anguish unlike anything he ever imagined possible threatens to swallow the Saiyan, and part of him wishes to allow it to do so, to let him die of this heartbreak, so he can see his family again. But pride, and even stronger rage stop him. He cannot die yet, not until he has made this pair pay for everyone they've killed. And as he embraces his righteous fury, Raditz's hair shines golden, and he truly becomes the Super Saiyan of legend. This transformation catches the android's attention. And as Raditz staggers back to his feet, 18 smirks that he's gone and made himself blonde. But if he thinks flattery will make her spare his life, he's sorely mistaken. 17 meanwhile smirks that seeing that makes him want to go back to his natural color. After all, blondes have more fun, and he's gonna have so much fun beating this yutz to death. Raditz has no counter-quip, instead silently lunging at the twins. His fist connects with 17's jaw, and actually manages to push his face back, but only slightly. 18 laughs at this, saying 17 better watch out or cousin Id over here is gonna pose a real threat. Raditz then pivots, slamming a flying roundhouse kick into 18's side. Sarcastically, she says, "Ow," then drops an elbow which breaks his leg at the knee, causing it to poke upwards at an awkward angle. Raditz screams, and 17 calls this the most annoying sound in the universe, grabbing him by the back of the head and driving it through the thick tile of the courtyard, sending Raditz plummeting into the depths below. Dropping out of Super Saiyan, Raditz lies there and weeps. He failed everyone he loves. Bulma, Trunks, Kakarot, Gohan, his human friends, all of them are gone. Up above, he hears the teens debate how they should destroy this place, before settling on a good old-fashioned beam barrage from overhead. The Saiyan cannot even find the strength to move, as he sees the glowing key orbs through the hole he fell through, and so simply closes his eyes as he hears them fire. However, the natural instinct to survive is not one so easily overridden, especially in someone like Raditz, who has spent the majority of his life thinking of ways to save his own hide. And so as the lookout explodes and comes apart, he uses the last of his will to steer himself out of the path of falling debris, so that when he crashes to the ground, it is a small way away from the pile of rubble that otherwise would have been his tomb. He still cannot sense the androids, so he has no way of knowing if they're gone or not, but judging by the way they haven't come down to finish him off, he has to assume they've either lost interest, which seems unlikely, or whatever key sense they have is more rudimentary than his own. But then Raditz notices another key. No, 2 keys. They're faint, but he knows them. It's Bulma and Trunks. Forcing his battered body to float, he takes off as fast as he can towards the power signatures, and promptly finds them emanating from inside a crashed plane. Bulma, genius that she is, must have managed a crash landing, even after that psychopath blew up the back of her plane. Tearing off the dented door like tissue paper, Raditz is greeted by a sight of great joy and great tragedy. His family are alive like he hoped, but both of them are badly injured. Rousing herself through force of will alone, Bulma pulls Trunks from the wreckage, then disentangles herself before looking over to her husband, and in a serious tone asks what they do now. Raditz can't help but admire her stoicism in the face of pain and loss. He takes a moment to tell her how incredible she is, and how much he loves her and Trunks, pulling them both into a hug. However, peaceful moments like this can only afford to be fleeting in this new world of hell, and so after too brief an interlude, they set to work. To their horror, when they head for home, our favourite family find West City in flames. The androids, having seen this place while tailing Raditz, had decided to raze it for a bit of fun, and so Bulma in particular watches as the place she had lived her whole life, the place where her unsuspecting parents had been, is now reduced to merely a graveyard, and a monument to the sadism of androids 17 and 18. With Capsule Corp and the lookout gone, Raditz wants to take shelter at Kame House, so he can have his one-time mentor help him and Trunks train for a rematch with the androids. However, Bulma warns that this might be too dangerous, since Raditz, Roshi, and Trunks are probably the 3 strongest people on Earth right now, so them gathering might just act as a beacon for the androids. Raditz reluctantly agrees with his wife, and so tries to think up an alternative hiding place. Thanks to his deduction about the android's power sensing capabilities not being built for long-range scanning, Raditz comes up with the idea to stay far away from urban centers, since it seems like these are the mechanical menace's favorite places to torment. Thanks to her adventures, Bulma knows a few places like Grandpa Gohan's house, Yamcha's bandit hideout, and the ruins of Muscle Tower that can serve as temporary sanctuaries. However, they dare not even stay in these places long, lest the androids catch wind of them. Day in, day out, Raditz trains, his single-minded drive being to avenge everyone the androids killed. And in time, Trunks joins him, proving both a smart student thanks to his mother's brains, and in time a decent sparring partner thanks to that amazing half-Saiyan potential. The father and son duo grow incredibly close over this time, and seeing Trunks grow, both in power and into a young man, makes Raditz prouder than he ever thought he could have been. Though he also knows how much it hurts his son every time he feels another city die to the android's cruel whim, and it breaks his heart to see him in such distress. Raditz tries to have Trunks harness these feelings of helplessness and anger, in the hopes that he can become a Super Saiyan like he can, though this form eludes the younger Saiyan at every turn. Raditz then tries coaching his son on how it feels every time he transforms, having gotten a handle on the form over the years,
the nigga Raditz about to die.
Practice. But this is equally fruitless, and it seems like Raditz is the one and only legendary Super Saiyan. However, Trunks refuses to let this seeming limit keep him from giving his whole heart to the cause, and day by day he grows stronger, desperate to live up to the legends he hears of Uncle Kakarot, Aunt Chi-Chi, Gohan, Krillin, Tien, Chaozu, Yamcha, Vegeta, Nappa, and most importantly the man he admires most, his father. The young man knows that one day soon, the two of them will stop the androids together and save the world. But no matter how much he trains, no matter how hard he tries or how strong he grows, his father always tells him that he's not ready. And this infuriates Trunks, who believes that his father is just being overprotective. Since the androids cannot be sensed, he has no idea how powerful they are beyond a faint traumatic childhood memory of being shot out of the sky by one of them, but with the overconfidence and impatience of youth, he firmly believes that he could take them on, even if he isn't the Super Saiyan. And when Trunks is 14, he gets the chance to test this theory. While training with his father up in the mountains, Trunks feels the horribly familiar feeling of slaughter, though this time with a dreadfully familiar twist. The massacre is taking place in Jingle Village. Trunks remembers his time there, visiting with his parents while they were hiding out in the ruins of Muscle Tower. He had built snowmen with the other kids, and his mum had let him sneak a sip of her mulled wine. He had been able to be a normal kid that day rather than a savior in training, and now all those people are going to die. Urgently, he looks to his dad and says they've got to go help them, but Raditz shakes his head and grimly says they're still not ready. Fed up with his cautious approach, Trunks finally snaps, calling his father an old fool and a coward, and declaring that he's going to save Jingle Village with or without him. Raditz's breath catches in his throat, and he throws out an arm as he urges Trunks not to go, but the boy is already gone, rocketing towards the snow-capped village at top speed. As expected, the androids are there, with 17 proudly declaring that he thinks this is a new personal best for him, while 18 is enjoying herself setting houses ablaze with small key blasts. It is her Trunks attacks first, landing a kick from above that sends her crashing down into the snow. The sight of 18 face down in the slush makes 17 guffaw, and he smirks that whoever Trunks is, he's got a lot of guts to do something like that. However, a fuming 18 snarls that he won't for much longer, since she's gonna rip them out. 17 asks if that's really necessary. After all, they've already killed everyone here, and they haven't had a decent challenger since old Pineapple Head forever ago. He then looks up at Trunks, asking if he's any relation, since he has the same sort of spiky black hair, even if it's not as long. 18 snaps back that what does it matter, he'll be dead soon anyway, which 17 affirms with a shrug, saying he would like to play with him a bit more, but Trunks heard the lady, so he's afraid now he's gotta die. Trunks barks back that they're the ones who are going to die, firing off a double sundae with each hand, which bathes the bot in 2 large beams of pinkish ki. Panting from the exertion of putting his all into that attack, Trunks grins down at the resulting smoke cloud, certain that he just killed the androids. That is until 17 quips that yeah, he's definitely related to the other guy, since he recognizes that attack. He then bursts from the cloud and drives a fist into Trunks' stomach, winding him as an elbow to the spine that sends the young Saiyan plummeting towards the ground. 18 is waiting there, and she flips in midair to kick Trunks in the side, breaking a few of his ribs and sending him smashing into one of the still standing houses. The twins then converge in his position, smirking that he's weak like the other guy too. I love the twist on this, man. Well, the twist on this is so beautiful. To kill weaklings. However, a new voice has other ideas, as it orders the androids to get away from his son. Raditz, in all his Super Saiyan glory, then slams into 17 and 18, knocking them back just far enough that he can put himself between the murderous machines and Trunks. The boy excitedly calls out to his dad, saying that he's so glad he's here, and declaring that together they can win this fight. But sternly, Raditz tells his son to go home. 18 sneers, asking if he means that little place up in the mountains, and at Raditz's horrified expression, smirks that he kind of really thought they couldn't sense them. 17 gleefully adds that by the look of it, Pineapple Head really did think that, but no, they never lost sight of them for a second. They just let them live since they were the only fun people left on this planet, and they've been waiting for this rematch. This revelation adds desperation to Raditz's voice, as he orders Trunks to get back to his mother and take her somewhere far away from these monsters. Trunks pleads with his father to let him help, even with all his injuries. He is a Saiyan warrior and wants to fight. However, Raditz remains resolute, saying that he needs him to do what he says and protect Bulma. Tears welling in his eyes, Trunks nods and prepares to leave, but before he can, Raditz pulls him into a hug. Raditz tells Trunks that he loves him, and is proud of him, and needs him to do one more thing for him. Trunks asks what it is, and with all the effort in the world to keep his tone measured, Raditz replies, "Don't look back." As Trunks departs, Raditz turns back to face his enemies, who jeer that his little goodbye was vomit-inducing, but they suppose appropriate since he's never going to see that kid again. 18 then lazily fires a blast at Trunks' retreating back, but it's stopped when Raditz Z vanishes in front of it, crossing his arms to absorb the brunt of the blow.
Why he turned 8?
This leaves the Saiyan with bad burns on both his arms, and 17 demands to know what the hell he thinks he's doing when he knows he can't beat them. 18 adds her own barbed criticism, smirking that he should run away back to his little rat hole, since that's all he ever does. Reddit snarls that now he knows that they can track his family, he can't afford to let them keep on living, so this ends today. 17 reiterates his previous point that this is futile, since Reddits can't win against them. They're just too strong. But Reddits gives the droid an evil grin, saying that he doesn't have to win, he just has to make sure they lose with him. He then flares his aura to the max, and it forms a bubble around him with golden flames swirling over the surface. In that moment, he thinks about his many failures, how he was too scared to speak up against Vegeta and Nappa during their days in the Frieza Force, how he was too scared to make the necessary sacrifice when Frieza returned, and how he was too scared to stand and fight when the androids killed all his friends. Well, he's not scared now. His thoughts then turn to his family, his singular success. Bulma, brilliant, beautiful Bulma. She will guide Trunks now that he cannot. And Trunks, his pride and joy. He will shepherd the world into a new age of peace and hope. Raditz knows it, and there is no one he would rather trust with Earth's future. And so, with his mind on the ones he loves most, Raditz lets out a scream that shakes the entire continent, then expires in a flash of golden light. Raditz's final explosion rapidly expands, and for the first time ever, the androids experience fear. This might be enough to kill them, and so despite having maligned their adversary for doing so earlier, the pair flee. However, even at their top speeds, the explosion continues to gain on them, and at the edge of its blast radius, it even manages to consume them. Alas, being the furthest point from Ground Zero, this lacks the full power of the blast, and so while it does wound the twins severely, it is not enough to destroy them. However, in the opposite direction something is destroyed, the last vestiges of a child's innocence. Despite his promise, when Trunks feels the ground shaking, he had looked back, and in doing so, seen his father's final moments. As Trunks feels the last of Raditz's ki fade away, he lets out a blood-curdling scream of his own as tears cascade down his cheeks. This is his fault. If he hadn't run off to fight the androids alone, his dad wouldn't have had to sacrifice himself to cover his retreat. This is his fault. And with that realization comes a power fueled by rage, pain, grief, sorrow, and most importantly, love. For it is only the loss of a loved one that can truly cause this much agony. And as that agony grows, so does Trunks' strength, causing his eyes to turn cyan, and his hair to shine gold as it spikes up. He has become the legendary Super Saiyan, like his father before him. Though she cannot sense energy, on some intuitive level Bulma knows what has transpired, and when she sees her son returning alone, and as a Super Saiyan, she has all the confirmation she needs. Weeping silently, she holds her son, and together the pair grieve the loss of Raditz. However, neither mother nor son allow this sorrow to break them, and while Trunks wants to go back out and fight the androids to avenge his father, Bulma urges him not to, saying that his father's sacrifice will be in vain if Trunks dies too. This wounds Trunks, who still feels responsible for Raditz's death, but Bulma tells him that she may have a way to bring him and everyone else back. The boy looks at his mother with shock at this declaration, but when he sees the old confident grin crossing her face for the first time since Raditz's death, he knows it must be true. Bulma explains that she has an idea for a time machine, which if successful could allow Trunks to warn Raditz and the others of the android's arrival, and perhaps they could destroy them in advance. Trunks beams that this is amazing, the first glimmer of hope returning to him at last. It takes over 3 years for the mother-son duo to put their plan into action without the resources of Capsule Corp, and they are hampered even further by the fact that more than once, they are forced to pack up and start again elsewhere when the androids attack a nearby settlement, no doubt wanting to see if they can draw Trunks out again. However, Trunks now understands his father's reasoning for not engaging and staying hidden, and so though it tears him up inside each time the monsters decimate another group of humans, he never leaves Bulma's side, and instead funnels his righteous fury into finishing the time machine, so he can bring everyone back, and it can be like this nightmare never happened. Finally, when Trunks is 18 years old, Bulma announces that the time machine is complete at last. By this point, Trunks has allowed his spiky hair to grow long and shaggy, as a homage to his father. And as Bulma makes the final checks to make sure everything is ready for her son's journey, she laughs that he looks so much like Raditz now it's scary. She then adds that she's so proud of him for doing this, and she knows that if his father was here, he would be too. This makes Trunks shed a tear, and as he wipes it away, he vows that he will make sure he is worthy of that pride. He then clips his sword belt onto his back, and with a final wave activates the time machine, rising into the air and then vanishing into the past.
That was good as hell. Look, That was really good. I can't even say like that was a good chapter. Like shout out to Pickled Dill podcast, bro. You do your thing, man. You up? Hey, this was some good ass storytelling, bro. This is some good writing right here. And so I can wait till the next part, man. Let me know how you feel about the chapter down below. I love the twists and turns of from the original story, of course. You know, of course, it got Radish in it and shit. This, like I said, it's a what if, right? Nigga, this shit is called What If Goku Was a Guardian Earth? It might well have been What If Radish came to Earth? That's it. Like, that's pretty much what it is right now, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not even about Goku. This shit funny. I like it though. I love it. You can like my reaction, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.